Morning by our great Commissioner of Education here in Florida, Kamoutsas, as well as two people from our statewide prosecution team here in the Office of Attorney General, Nick Khalil and Barbara Goodson. Today's announcement really shows the full range of activities that our AG's office engage in. Everything from cyber crimes and theft to child predator operations to retail theft. And today we're here to talk about holding educators accountable. In Florida, we pride ourselves on being the education state. We put our kids, our students, number one. We love our teachers, but we hold them to a high standard. We want to make sure that people that are influencing the bright young minds of the future are competent, qualified, and have gone through the necessary certifications to be instructing our young ones. So in Florida, the commissioner can provide more information. You've got to go through and get certified on English and social studies and the various things that you're going to be teaching. We don't just let anybody roll into the classroom. We take this seriously. So today we're here to announce an important prosecution that this team's working on. I'll let Nick share a little bit more detail. But we have taken down Cassandra Knowles of Fort Lauderdale, who was going and taking these certification tests for other people. We've now found about 8 or 9 cases where she fraudulently took tests for other people, and now there are teachers right here in Broward County that have no business being in the classroom. They did not get their proper certifications. They have cheated, and they will pay for it. We have a great working relationship with the Department of Education. We're going to go investigate, and believe me, if you haven't heard from Kamoutsas before, if you cheat and lie and steal, he is going to go after you. He started as a prosecutor. Nobody loves education and our kids more than him, and I have no doubt that we will continue to follow the trail. We will find who all these people are. So, out there, if you're one of these teachers, you had your exam taken by Miss Knowles here, you might as well just come on in. Save us all a little bit of hassle. We can do it the easy way or the hard way, but come on in. It's not going to get any better for you if you stay out there and keep teaching. We will indeed find you, and you will pay for it. So in this case, we will be charging Miss Knowles with running an organized scheme to defraud, multiple counts of using phones and texts to commit crimes, and possibly other crimes of dishonesty. And we will continue to support the Education Commissioner here, though he's not going to be here long, I guess. His last day is July 5th, and he has been voted in to be the next president of Polk State College, which is a great thing for the students over there. They've got a wonderful leader who's going to care about them more than anybody else. I want to thank our prosecutors for their great work on this case, and I heard before coming out we just scored a wonderful verdict in a big child predator case, 90 counts of child porn over in Southwest Florida. We'll have more details on that soon. But here in Florida, we enforce the law. We work hard. If you want to commit crimes, you sure as heck don't want to be in this state, because you're going to pay for it. You're going to serve some time. This might seem like, to some people this is not a big deal, but it is, because at the end of the day, this hurts our kids. This hurts the education of our youth. So Ms. Knowles is going to pay for it. Stassi, I'll let you come up, and then we'll have Nick give some details. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Well, good afternoon, and thank you for having me. I want to start off by thanking the Attorney General, James Uthmeier, and his incredible team for their diligence in a case like this, where we are ensuring that there is true transparency, accountability, and quite frankly, upholding the rule of law here in the state of Florida. I also want to thank Secretary Linda McMahon and the team over at the United States Department of Education for the work that they did in collaborating with all of us to ensure that we are continuing to churn out high-quality educators who have gone through the rigorous process that it takes to be able to be the best of the best in the classroom. And it is something that we pride ourselves on here in the state of Florida, because we are number one in education. There are all kinds of metrics that talk about how we empower parents, how we are continuing to build on our laurels and to increase academic achievement. We are number one when it comes to student safety, when it comes to workforce education, when it comes to school choice. And so at every level of education here in Florida, the classroom, the district, even at the Department of Education, accountability is not optional. It is a fundamental responsibility that is required with public trust. And today we are here to reaffirm that commitment. Families trust that educators who are standing in the classroom teaching their children are qualified, that they are properly vetted, and they are held to the highest professional standards, because our students deserve nothing less. When that trust is violated, even in isolated instances, it can erode confidence in the broader education system. And that is why maintaining strong safeguards, enforcing the law, and taking decisive action when misconduct occurs is essential, and we have to do this every time we come across it. Cassandra Knowles owned and operated a tutoring service, and at first glance, one might wonder, well, how does academic support lead one to end in criminal charges and to an arrest? Well, the reason is simple. Ms. Knowles chose to go beyond tutoring and engaged in fraud by taking tests on behalf of others. Now, Attorney General Uthmeier, myself, and statewide prosecutor, we're lawyers, so we use the analogy. This is like somebody sitting for the Florida bar exam on our behalf. I would not be a qualified lawyer if I didn't go through that same rigorous test, and the same idea applies here to the teaching profession. Educators who obtain this certificate fraudulently will be investigated, and they will be held accountable. And those who fail to meet the certification requirements from this scheme will eventually be prohibited from obtaining a teaching certificate. You have my word on that. All examinees for Florida teaching exams are subject to strict identification requirements, and it was that technology that we were able to utilize to be able to apprehend this criminality. Thanks to these safeguards, to the monitoring systems and investigative efforts in place at the Florida Department of Education, as well as the work that we did with our law enforcement partners, the fraudulent activity was identified, investigated, and brought to light. As a result, Knowles was arrested and will now be held accountable for her actions. But let me be clear, Florida will not allow this type of conduct to undermine the integrity of the teaching profession and the quality of education that is being provided to students here in the state. Individuals who attempt to circumvent the certification requirements or compromise the standards that we expect of all educators will be identified and held accountable. The vast majority of Florida's teachers are dedicated professionals who come to work each and every day to make a difference in the life of their students, to ensure that they are progressing academically, that they are protected when they are in their care, custody, or control. But they deserve a certification process that is credible, one that is secure, and worthy of the trust that is placed in the profession. Today's announcement demonstrates that our commitment to accountability remains unwavering. We will continue to protect the integrity of Florida's education certification process and uphold the highest standards that is expected of all educators, because that is what our students deserve. Thank you, and God bless you.
All right, thank you, Stassi. And next we'll have Nick Khalil, statewide prosecutor.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. For years, defendant Cassandra Knowles accepted money to fraudulently take teacher certification and other exams for cheaters who would then claim the test results to be their own. Our investigation revealed that Knowles recruited customers on Facebook and Instagram offering to take an array of exams. Knowles charged $1,000 to help people cheat on both online and in-person exams in our state. Knowles was meticulous in her efforts to conceal her true identity and well-versed in exam security procedures. She exchanged driver's licenses with the folks she tested for and then presented that license to exam security. She changed her hair, dress, and makeup to match that of the cheater for whom she was testing. And in at least one case, Knowles even dressed as a man to take an elementary education exam. However, Knowles' system was not good enough to evade the diligent team at the Florida Department of Education, the Federal Department of Education Office of Inspector General, and the Office of Statewide Prosecution. Thanks to the partnership of these agencies, Knowles was arrested on June 11th of 2026 and taken into custody with the assistance of the Fort Lauderdale Police Department. Throughout this investigation, we worked closely with our partners at both the Florida Department of Education, the Federal Department of Education, and we had a full court effort from the Office of Statewide Prosecution. This investigation would not have been possible without their hard work and collaboration. And I think this case is an excellent example of cooperation at the state, local, and federal level to take down somebody who's harming the integrity of our education system. This case truly does strike at the heart of that integrity. With this investigation, we hope to send a simple and clear message. If you profit off of cheating in Florida, you will be prosecuted. The Attorney General and the Office of Statewide Prosecution, as well as Commissioner Kamoutsas, are doing everything in our power to ensure that Florida's children are being taught by both qualified and honest educators. I'd like to thank Commissioner Kamoutsas and General Uthmeier for both your support and leadership throughout this investigation. Commissioner, your team was responsive, organized, professional, and we truly could not have put this case together without the hard work from the Florida Department of Education. And General, thank you for your enduring support of the Office of Statewide Prosecution and the work that we do here. And lastly, I'd like to thank my esteemed colleagues at the Fort Lauderdale and West Palm Beach bureaus of the Office of Statewide Prosecution. I'm the one that gets to stand up here today, but this was not me alone. Ms. Goodson, as well as other prosecutors and staff, worked very hard to put this investigation together, and they all truly deserve credit. Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Yeah, our statewide prosecution team packs a pretty big punch. They work very hard, are getting great results. Our prosecution case count is up almost 50% since the year before I took office, and it's no surprise that Florida's crime rate continues to go down. We're getting the rest of the 2025 data in, and you've got double-digit crime decreases in most of the state, almost 20% decreases in murder rates in most of the state. Fentanyl cases are down 70, 80%. It's not rocket science. It shouldn't be complicated. We support law enforcement. When we catch bad guys, we prosecute them, no matter the crime. Even something like cheating on exams for teachers, we're going to go after that too. So why are we here today? We're sending a message. If you're one of these teachers that has fraudulently gotten your certification, just go ahead and bring yourself in. The music's stopped. It's ending for you one way or the other. It's only going to get worse the longer you stay out there. And number two, anybody out there thinking of defrauding this system should think again. We prioritize the safety and education of our kids more than anything here in Florida, whether it's big tech, social media, AI, child predators. Anybody that wants to hurt our kids is certainly going to have a problem with me and our team. So I appreciate you for being here. I want to thank the Education Commissioner. It's fitting to get to see him here right before he moves into a new role. We've had a great relationship over the last year and a half. One of the first things we did when I got this job was we repurposed some existing staff and resources to create an Office of Parental Rights here in Florida. A lot of new laws have been passed to prevent, harmful pornography and things from being in our K-12 schools and libraries. There's no place for that in an elementary school. A lot of these things are really decisions for parents when they expose their kids to some of the harmful sexual content. And as we've gotten complaints in up and down the state, we've taken action. We've worked with their agency. And we've got a 100% success rate in shutting down a lot of these dangerous harms. We had Alachua County had a public school camp, overnight camp, where fifth grade boys were allowed to be in the same cabins with second grade girls. We've shut down bathrooms in Palm Beach County where they wanted boys to be in the same bathrooms as girls. This isn't going to fly. It's dangerous, and it's been an honor to have the support of the commissioner in fighting for our kids. So that's it for today. We've got time for a few questions. Chris, sir, how are you? Good to see you.
This morning you posted that you were going to begin impeachment proceedings against this judge who judged this woman to be temporarily insane and not guilty for stabbing her child and her husband.
That's right. We've got to start impeaching judges. There's a reason why these provisions are in our Constitution, at the federal level, and other states. Judges think they can do whatever they want and get away with it, and it's endangering others. So there's a remedy to address this. It is the impeachment process. We don't see that in modern history. But where you have somebody that's drowning a baby and then a judge is, at a bench trial letting her off for insanity, and then she's going to go right back out into the public, this is wrong. We proposed a legislative change to join a couple other states in limiting how the insanity defense can be used in Florida. If you have mental health issues and need help, okay, let's get you that help. But you need to do it behind a barred hospital. You need to be locked up for the rest of your life away from kids where they're just going to go out and hurt them. The state attorney in Orlando, she let a guy out, attempted murder, tried to shoot somebody at a gas station, failed, thankfully, argues, pleas out, lets him out, insanity defense, and then he goes and kills 3 tourists near Disney. This has got to stop. This judge up in Tallahassee lets a guy who a jury convicted of a child sex offense go free, and then he murders his 5-year-old stepdaughter. So I'm going to be working on articles for that judge. I got a couple others in the hopper, and I'm going to work with any legislator that would like to ensure public safety and hold these erroneous judges accountable. Judges take oaths just like I do. They need to do their job. They need to honor the law, honor the Constitution, and for crying out loud, protect our little ones.
How widespread is this certification issue?
It looks like it's pretty widespread. I mean, we've already got 8 or 9 people that we know cheated and had the exam taken for them. We believe it's much bigger than that. We've got access to a lot of technology, cell phones and things that are going to further highlight who all was involved. So I don't know exactly how big, but we believe it's big.
Are you saying 8 or 9 here in Broward or statewide?
Is that right? Statewide.
So that's not tied to this Knowles case in particular, or it is?
You wanna...
Yeah, all those identified have been tied to Knowles at this point. As the general said, this is an ongoing investigation.
Can you let us know how many of them were in Broward and Miami-Dade counties and how long this was going on?
So as to the length of time, this is an ongoing investigation. Our affidavit, which is what the arrest was based on, goes back to 2024. But like we said, our investigation does continue. As far as where these were occurring, the ones we've outlined in the affidavit, some were in Palm Beach, some were in Broward County, some were in Volusia County. But as the general said, we are continuing to investigate.
Copy that affidavit. I was on the clerk's website and it's not in her file there. Part of the arrest paperwork, like it typically is, like detailing, the allegations against her. So I'm curious if we can get more information on that.
We can probably get them the locations. We can
Sure.
follow up
Yeah.
and get you specific locations for the cheaters that have been identified.
And the 8 or 9 people you're talking about, have they been removed from the classroom, or are they still?
So the commissioner and his team have been working diligently on any ramifications regarding their teacher license. That's not something the statewide prosecution or the attorney general is directly handling. But Commissioner Kamoutsas' team, I'll let you speak on that.
So generally, when we take action against an educator certificate, there are 2 types of educators, the applicant and the one that received the certificate. The applicant, if they're still in that process, would be denied the certificate. But the one who has received the certificate, we now have to go in front of the Education Practices Commission. Quite frankly, on both situations, we have to go before the Education Practices Commission. But I would find probable cause after an investigation on the individual educator, and it would go through the legal process that way. But that's how that typically works.
So this isn't a one day to the next, you're no longer in the classroom because of this open investigation?
Generally, what we look to is there has to be an investigation first, appropriate due process, and then it goes through legal proceedings. Yes.
So it would be accurate. I only keep asking you because I'm going to be asked all these questions. It's accurate to say some of these educators may still be in the classroom while the process continues.
Well, we will work with the district, and the idea is if an individual, there's sufficient evidence to communicate that they, don't have a reason to be in the classroom because they obtained a certificate fraudulently, then the district has the ability to take action as well through the labor and employment process. What I'm talking about at the statewide level is the administrative process on their actual license. The license will not be immediately revoked because it has to go through due process, but there's stuff that we do at the district level where we will put a hold on the license to be able to work with them and so that individual is no longer allowed in the classroom.
Eventually those teachers, though, will be arrested at some point if it's proven, if there's enough evidence.
Well, that is in the Attorney General's jurisdiction, so let me take a step back.
The answer is yes. And look, we want to get these people out of classrooms as soon as possible if they cheated. But again, we do have an elaborate process that we've got to go through, and we'll go through that working with his team quickly.
What would their charges be once they get arrested?
I mean, it's going to vary on a case-by-case basis, depending on, how it happened, money, how it changed hands. There's a host of things that could be charged.
Another clarification, I'm sorry. You had mentioned that your investigation started in 2024, but do you think the cheating had been going on for a long time before that? Do you have like a general date of when she allegedly started doing this?
So I guess I should clarify. Our investigation, what we've outlined in the affidavit, the conduct goes back to 2024. Our investigation started after. I don't want to comment at this point because the investigation is ongoing about how far back we think it goes. But that is at least, yes. Thank you.
Appreciate the interest in this. It's great. Yes, sir.
So the Broward School Board was talking about implementing AI into the classroom, and board member Severa brought up that the Magic School AI program had a 39% failure rate for inappropriate material. Are you watching the implementation of AI into classrooms, and what kind of guardrails you want to see?
Yeah, look, I think there are some real dangers when it comes to AI and exposure to kids. We filed a first-in-the-country lawsuit against OpenAI ChatGPT after seeing AI advise kids on how to hurt themselves, how to hurt others. We have evidence of AI being used to create child pornography. So I do think that we as leaders in this country, certainly in the state of Florida, have a duty to hold these companies accountable where they expose kids to harmful behavior. The FSU shooting, I think by now most people have heard, this guy, he was getting advice from AI, from ChatGPT for days as he planned how to go engage in the shooting, what gun to use, what type of ammo, how to turn off the safety, where to go on campus at what time to encounter the largest number of people. These are things that ChatGPT was advising the shooter. So AI in schools, I'm very nervous and cautious. I do believe technology's here. We're going to have to use AI effectively to succeed in life. Our office, we use AI to go catch predators, and it works. So there is a use for it, but we need to make sure we're protecting our kids at all costs. So that's what I'd say. All right, thanks everybody.
On the Florida GOP canceling the governor debate?
I tell you what, I'm going to head over there and give my speech at the GOP event, but I think they had some metrics in place that had been there for quite some time, and you can't, I think there's like, over a dozen people that have, registered to run for governor. You can't let everybody on stage. You got to have some sort of metrics. I'm not sure how they came to those decisions, but I'm going to stay in my lane. Thank you. All right. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.